Hello and good evening. It's Wednesday, ready for the next swap of the next pouch. So hopefully everybody will have received their pouch, their first pouch by now. We did the demo in March. Or did we? Yes, we did. We did it in March. No, we didn't. We did it in February for March. So that was the March swap. And now we are doing the April swap, and I'm doing the demo in March. So this is number 2 of the 6 that will be in the series of the pouch swap. Now, I have got my phone here, but I can see no comments coming up. I can see people are watching, but my phone has no battery. Well, it's on the very, very red. So let me just have a look. But I know it's not going to last as long as I need it to. So hopefully Facebook will be very kind. Oh, here we are. Let's see. There we are. Very slow. So let's just say good evening to a few of you here. Hello, Anne. Hello, Amanda. Hello, Gita. Hello, Margaret. Hello, Carrie. And Sue. And Sue. And Sue. 3 Sues. Jill, Rena, and Diane, and Sharon, all watching at the moment. And hello to all of you. So what I was thinking, one of the things I'll say to you, the Orifil floss will be on its way tomorrow. That is all sorted and looking forward to that coming. I tried to put a picture of one of the sets that I've ordered, but it wasn't having it. So if I manage to find a way, I obviously haven't got them yet, but I was taking a picture from their website, but it didn't want to play ball with me. So hey ho. Hello Christine, hello Janet, hello Dorothy, hello Moya, and hello Kirsten and Patricia. It's Wednesday, it is indeed. Good evening, Chris. Lovely to see you too. So I am on time now. Hello, Anne. I think I was a couple of minutes early, but sometimes I'm ready. And you know, when I think I'm ready, I've always forgotten something. So hopefully this time I haven't. But evening, Aurora. Yep, I can see. It tells me you're watching, and you've actually said hello. So, today's been Sewing Club. It's been a busy day. Hello, Mary. Great afternoon. You're now worried about a double pocket. Well, Mary, never be worried, because you know what I'm like. I like something to look difficult, and when I show you how to do it, it is so, so easy. You will have done very similar before, but it's what we do with it next that makes it into the double pocket. So, we've got, what have we got? We're going to put a zip in there. And we have basically got 2 seams, and we'll have 4 seams. 1, 2, no we won't. We'll do the zip, and we've got 2 seams. That is all there is to it. So, you're going to say, oh my goodness, that is so easy. Hello Patricia, hello Christine, and hello Sheila. Excuse me. That little cold is still lingering. So what I thought, I haven't popped the PDF in the group yet. I thought about it 15 minutes ago and thought, oh no, I need to write a little bit more than that. But I will tell you all the dimensions, and they are also quite straightforward. Nothing too taxing to absolutely put you off. So, actually I ought to give it another 2 or 3 minutes, didn't I, till a few more people are watching. And as I say, because I'm going to give you the dimensions, there will be a PDF, so you know. We are just working with a long rectangle, or 3 long rectangles actually, so nothing that will stretch your brain in any way, shape or form. So today we've had Sewing Club. It was lovely, and a little bit of hard work, so I thank all those that were there. Because the tables weren't able to be erected like Martin usually does, because he has a bad leg and shoulder. So it was left to us, and yeah, it was okay, I suppose. But yeah, it was just makes it not quite as nice having to do that. But we managed, and we had a lovely afternoon, lots of sewing done by all, and even more chattering and cake eating and tea and coffee drinking. So at some point in time, I will do a weekend workshop. So I need to just get all the things out of my system so that everything's running as I want it to be. But at the minute, there's still plenty to do. So, and especially with Last Thrifty Thursdays, I should have the first ones going out tomorrow, but I've still got a lot more cutting to do. It's a little bit of a nightmare, but I will get them on their way to you ASAP. So, the Aurifil floss, did I say that? Yes, that's being dispatched tomorrow. So hopefully it will be with me by the weekend, if not Monday. I also need to chase up. I've got a big order from Stoff, some lovely fabrics from Stoff, and I think there are some 108-inch wide ones as well. And I don't know where they've got to. They were supposed to be being delivered on Tuesday of this week, and then all of a sudden it hadn't even been collected. So don't tell me rubbish. I don't know. I need to check up on that, but it all takes time, as you know. Phone calls, just I've had enough of phone calls from, or not from customers, but phone calls from, or that I've had to make to different people, and they say they'll call you back, and they don't, and it just drags on and on. So never mind. Enough of that prattling. What we're going to do tonight is the double pack. Let me show you. So it looks like an ordinary pouch. When we look at the sides, it is a double pocket pouch. It has one zip here, which when we open it, it gives us 2 pockets, one each side, like so. And believe you me, and so also it can be, so in here making the pocket, we have hook and loop. So you can lay it down and you've got pocket there, so it could be on your table with bits and pieces in, 2 sides. You could even put a long ruler and leave it like that, but if you want it to stand up, you can just pop it together like that, and you've got your 2 pockets. So you can have, as it sits there, like I have this ruler, oh, that will sit in there standing up if you want to. And then, I wonder if that would happen actually. Oh no, that's a little bit difficult. No, you can't actually slot it into, but it will stand there as a pouch, and you have all your bits and pieces in there as well, standing up while in front of you. But otherwise, why not put bobbins in one side, cotton reels in the other? Right, how are we going to make this little beauty? I know I've used some lovely Cave Facet fabric, still got a little bit more of this left, so when we have a sale, I shall no doubt pop that on the sale. So let's see where, or perhaps we'll put it just there for the time being. You can just about see it. So I have my pieces of fabric. There is my outer fabric. As you can see, it is half a width of fabric. So if you've got meterage, if you just cut along the fold and cut off the selvage, you can use whatever length that is. In the instructions, I will put 21 inches because usually it's round about that. But if yours only comes down to 20 inches or even 18, it just means it'll be a little bit less deep. On another occasion, if you're using this same technique, you could make wider ones, you could make them even longer, just by the fabric that you're using. So you could even make a huge one by using the whole width of fabric if you wanted to. So I might even try that. So here we have the outer fabric. I've already fused some of my fusible fleece on the back. Just find it easier to work with that. You could use H630, you could use G700 if you want to, which is just a fusible interfacing, just to give a bit more body to that outer fabric. But you can see it's still quite fluid, but it's not too thick. because you don't really want this to be too thick. And then exactly the same size, and I haven't told you the width, it's 6.5 inches wide, because I think we want to make, for the swap, sort of smaller pouches. So all these pieces of fabric, as in the outer, the wadding and the lining fabric, are all the same size. So I've used 6.5 inches across, and it's about 21 inches in length. So let's just pop those aside to the moment. And then I've got a zip, I think this is about 10 inches, yeah. So if you have a zip that's longer than 6.5, it just makes life easier when you're stitching the zip in and then top stitching. So just pop a zip in which coordinates with the fabric you're using. So there's my zip, and then also, which I've popped up the top, about 1.5 inches of Velcro. Now, I'm using Velcro, but if you wanted to, you could use your poppers, your cam snaps, and so that it will snap together if you want to. But I decided, because not all of you will have those, use a little bit of Velcro, the hook and loop fastener. So there it is, stuck together. So about 1.5 inches. If it's only 1 inch, it doesn't matter. If it's 2 inches, it doesn't matter either. And this is 3/4 of an inch wide. If yours is 1 inch wide, doesn't matter. It's just what purpose it serves. So let us begin. Down to here, and I've got my line turned down. So the first thing we're going to do, we are working on the narrow edges, the shorter edges, and we are going to put our zip, the zipper pull down. So there is my zipper pull, and we're putting that down as per usual. Now what I might do, I will use a pin. I could use binding clips, but just to hold that in place before we start. And then I'm going to have my lining fabric. It could be plain fabric, it doesn't have to be patterned, but I just picked some up and I thought that will do nicely, because it is really nice to be able to look into your pouch and see a pretty fabric. Not that it works with it really, but it'll be fine. So let's just pop that there, that's it. I'm going to put right side down of the lining onto the zip. So we're making a zip sandwich, and I'm making sure those two edges align beautifully. So I just take that pin out, pop it back in, just to hold that in place before we start. So as I usually do, either put your zipper foot on, or as I say, as I usually do, I use my standard foot, but I've moved my needle all the way to the left. So that on my machine, and I think it would be on yours, is 0.0. So I'm just lining up the other end of the fabric, and I'm just going to drop that foot down, and we're going to stitch along here. So just working our way to the edge of my foot is actually, just bring that down a little bit more, is just running alongside that zip coil to hopefully give me a nice straight insertion of that zip. So now I'm going to take that away, and then I'm just going to open up my pouch so that I've got the zip in the middle, and then I'm going to put the lining fabric underneath. So I've just got the zip exposed, and then under here I've got the wadding and the wrong side of my rosy fabric. So let's just pull that away. Don't need my pin for the minute. And now I'm just going to top stitch along here. So the first side is very easy because I can totally open that up. Now you can either, I'm just pulling the lining fabric down under there just to make sure that I've got no pleating of my lining fabric. And I can see that is pulled down nicely. So you can press this, or as I'm doing here, I'm just going to hold it there. It's only a short seam, so I am just going to top stitch along this edge just to hold the zip and the lining together, and also it just gives a nice finish to your project. So we'll just cut that there, and then we are going to work on the other side. So we have got our zip here, our outer fabric. So we're going to pull the outer fabric up because towards the zip, and we're going to place that on the opposite side of the zip. So the zip side, which has no fabric on it. So again, I'm just going to line that up, but I'm just going to swivel that around so that I'm working here just like I was before. So I have lined up again the edge of my outer fabric with the wadding on, and I'm just going to pop a pin in there just to hold that together. And then this is still, that bit is still free at the moment. You can pin it if you like, but what I'm going to do now is this a rose piece underneath. I am going to, let's just put it that way, I'm going to bring that up to the other side. So I've got it here, and I'm going to bring that up to the other side of the zip, like so, and align that as well. So we'll put a pin in this side, but we need to make sure that the side that we started with here has got the rose fabric coming up and aligning with that as well. So I've got that all lined up nicely. There's my rose fabric, there's my zip, and there's my outer fabric. So I'm just going to take that pin out again and reposition it. And then what we have here, can you see, there's the wrong side of my lining, and it's like two little tubes, like so. So there's the lining, and there is the outer fabric, and there is my zip sandwich at the top. So again, we'll pop that down, and I've got that all lined up. Ow, there, just stuck a pin in me. So we can take that pin out now, and then we will stitch along here. Now, you know me, I do like to have mine separated because I like to just make sure that is all nicely lined up as we go. And I tend to keep my finger pressed down on there. So I'm just realigning that, and then stitch along. And we've got the other side inserted as well. Now, we did top stitch along the other edge, so we do need to do this. So the easiest way is to just pull that back so that we can get access to the zip, and we're just going to open our zip all the way up, and then we can turn it to the right side, and we have our zip here. So this is why I like to use a longer zip, because it makes it easier to open it up and give me space to be able to top stitch along this side. So I'm just pushing, I'm pushing that lining fabric back inside, so that's where it should be. This side has been top stitched already, so we now need to top stitch this side. So again, I will have it this way. So I want to pull that lining from this edge here. I'm just pulling that away from the zip so that it is, so I'm not creating any pleats under there, like so. And you can press that if you'd like to, but what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to take this part out of the way so that we can put this part under the machine and top stitch along here. So just make sure that part is out of the way there, but pull your lining fabric also away from that edge, and then we will top stitch along this edge. So I'm sure you're all with me so far. That's really nice and easy, isn't it? So we can now, let's just zip that back up, and you can see what we've got. We have got outer fabric with our lining fabric on the inside. Okay, so there it is. And we've got raw edges and open edges and a zip at the top. So the first thing we're going to do, I like to, let's see, I've only made one of these. I thought of it this morning. I've got my 6 that we're going to do, However, this is another one that I thought, so I've done something different. Okay, so what I'm doing, I've folded it in half. So I've got it all to the right side. I've folded it in half. And what I'm looking to do is get my zip right centrally. So you can see my zip is here, and I want the same amount of fabric there as there. So it looks, but it may not be. I'm just looking to see how even that is. So let's use a binding clip just to hold this together so that I can measure. So let's put our clip just there and just here, and then we'll get a ruler just to see how, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So from my zip edge, that is just under the 5 by 1/8 of an inch. Just under the 5 by 1/8 of an inch. Oh, goodness gracious me. That is just under the 5. So I don't know how, but I got that exactly in the right place. It is just, so that's totally in half. I've got my zip going here, and there is my inside fabric. So what we're going to do at this point is, this is when we are going to, because what it's going to do is going to be folded like so. And our zip will be right on the top, and these are going to be our pockets. So at this point, we need to see where, so let's just make sure that is perfectly lined up with that fold. So if we have got our fabric halfway, or the zip halfway across our fabric, same amount of fabric to each side of the zip, that side and that side, then that is going to be just perfect. So what I'm going to do now is get my Velcro, and I want my Velcro to be down here and central. So I'm just going to lift one part off like so, and then I'm just going to lift that up, and I think we will have our Velcro, our hook and loop, just about there, and I'm going to put a pin in it. So I only want to go through the one layer. So I just put my finger in there, and whoops, that's gone through the other bit as well. Let's just lift that up. Oh, actually, I want it to go, I want it to go into the lining as well. So I think about there. So I put it sort of halfway across and put my finger in there just so that I can pin that in place. Okay, so once I've got a pin there, we will pin that across just to hold it. So I'm going to pop that back just down just to see, yeah, that's right, that's fine where that is. And then let's just flip it over, and this time I'm going to put my Velcro quite gently on the top of that piece, because then when I press it down, I can put my finger in there. I'm going to peel it back off, peel that back up, and I know that's in the right place to match with it. All right, so let's just pull that bit out. So I've just pulled it up, and we'll put a pin in there. That was my finger. Velcro is quite stiff to get through, it's quite tough. So you can see there, I put one piece in one, and then when I pop that down, whoops, no, isn't it? Just push that over a bit. Let me just have a look to see. Yeah, I could do with coming back a little bit that way. So I'll open that out, take that pin out, and just move it slightly. So pop that in. So this is, you don't need to measure. It doesn't need to be 6 inches from here or 8 inches from there. But we've got those in the 2 places there. And when this folds down with our zip along the top, because that's right along the top, and then that sits on there really nicely. So the only thing now, so we've got those in place. The only thing now is I'm going to take these binding clips off, because we don't need those. We've found the places we need. What we could do is give this a little press, but what I'm doing is making sure my lining is central as well. So let's just pull that across there. I think it looks okay where, that's it, it was just there. Right, so as I say, having a little press here, I'm just going to measure that again, so just to make sure I'm going from the zip there now. So that's just over 4.5, just over, yes, let's just see there, that side there, that's 4 3/4, 4 3/4, oh, no, I think we have, that's it, I should have pressed it before I moved it, basically. Let's just see over here. So it needed to be, that looks as though it's in the same place as I had it previously. Yes, just under the 5 and just under the 5. So I'm just going to give it a little press along each of those sides, because what we are wanting, we want that to be exactly in half. And if we've got a little press there to begin with, we are going to turn it to the other side, but if we put a little press along there, it's going to revert back to where we want it to be. So let's just give that a little steam and a little steam. That is lovely. So the next thing we're going to do is open it out. So I'm going to open the zip because I want to gain access to stitching these pieces of Velcro on. So by opening like so and moving this out of the way and the other side out of the way, we're going to stitch just around so the pin is not, you could even tuck that like so. So I know now that I am going just on the Velcro. So we'll just go down here and then just turn that around. I'm going to take my pin out in a moment. So pin out now, turn that around, no, one more stitch, and just making sure that we're not stitching through anything we don't want to, as in the zip. So pull that out of the way. So there is our first piece of Velcro stitched in place. So we're going through the lining fabric as well. So just pull those lining fabrics so they are definitely from one edge to the other. I can see that's just moved a little bit. Let's just pull that. And then we're going to tuck this piece under the machine and we're going to stitch around here as well. So as I say, just make sure, okay, the lining fabric is there, but underneath here, there's nothing. We don't want any fabric that we're stitching into. So we just go along there, and I'm going to take that pin out now because we don't need that. We've got that anchored in place, and we'll just stitch one more and along the long side. Keep popping your hand underneath the fabric, and then you know you're not stitching onto anything you shouldn't be stitching on or wanting to be. Okay, so that's right. So that is all still free. If it's stitched onto something, we would have seen there. Okay, so I'm just going to trim off that little bit of thread there and that little bit of thread there. Now, the next thing we're going to do, really difficult, we are going to actually zip it up first, and then we're going to turn it to the wrong side. Okay, like so. So I've turned it through. We have still got those crease marks of where the outside edges are when we folded it. So we can look at those again and just refold it this way, and we'll see that one is there. We can remeasure if you want to, but that should be absolutely central now. So I'm just going to put the binding clips down here just to hold that together, and around this side too. We can give another little measure. It is good. The more central you have it the whole time, the better it's going to look. So where did we have it here? 5. Yep, so there's my 5. Just under the 5. Perfect. So by having those crease marks where we press those edges here, you know that that's in the right place. Now the thing we must remember is to undo our zip. So let's just undo it. But because I've got the binding clips there, it is all held in place. Actually, let's take that one off so that I can get back to it there. So do it to about halfway. Make sure we'll replace that binding clip there to hold it together. But make sure the zip sits next to each other there, just so that is correct. Right, so now we're going to do 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I've just popped my foot in the position, the 5.5, for those who can move their needle position, and we will just reverse at that end, and then we will carry on stitching. So I'll take that binding clip off. I went over a little bit there. I think I might go across this again. I want to make sure it's a decent 1/4 inch seam. It's a bit fast, isn't it? Okay, so I do believe I went in a little bit here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start back here, and I am just going to stitch again. That's better. I was just wobbling my way in. I wasn't doing a true 1/4 inch seam. So just gives it a little bit more strength because I've gone over there twice, and then swivel it round to the other side. So we've stitched along there. So we're now going to stitch along this side. So again, just reversing at the end there. This time we have no zipper pull because we had that on the other side. So we will just stitch right across that zip and to the end there. Okay, so now what I like to do, I will just trim a little bit of this away just so it's a little bit narrower, not down to 1/8 of an inch, but just under the 1/4 inch, because I just want to make it look nice and neat. And if you watched the, what did I do? Oh, last night's, if you're in the Sew with Trisha group and watched the sewing technique using clear vinyl, you'll see in there how I did that binding around the edge. Now I'm going to be lazy and just do, so I'm just trimming these little bits off here because I'm just going to zigzag up these edges. There's a bit more fabric there. That's it. So all I've done, as I say, is I just neatened both those edges. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to zigzag up those edges. But if you wanted to bind these edges with fabric, which I haven't got any, I should have brought some other fabric I could do it with. But what you could do is get yourself a strip of fabric, which is longer than here, and fold it in half, like so. And we would align it on that edge. Let's put the binding clip or two on there. So this would go down the whole edge, like so. And then at this end, it's a little bit longer, so we would pop that around there, like so. And then you would just stitch. You would do the same at this end. It would go around here, and then you'd stitch along here, a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then once stitched, you would fold this binding over to the reverse, the other side, and you would stitch down there just to give you a nice neat edge rather than just zigzagged edging. So have a look at that again if you haven't done that before. to bind it off. But I feel that a zigzag stitch is actually good enough to finish this off. So that's why I trimmed those edges, just to make them nice and neat. And then I am zigzagging down here. Now, perhaps you don't use a zigzag stitch very often, but when the needle goes down to the left, it needs to come off the fabric. So it is just missing the fabric and coming over the edge. So I've done it on about a width of 4, so it is fairly wide. It doesn't go over my straight stitching at the edges, so that as it goes to the left, it's going this side of the stitching, so it won't show on the right side. But at the edge, my stitches go over the edge, so that there is, I'm just trimming that away, so you can see just there, so the needles come over the edge, so it encases all those raw edges. And then what I like to do on this side, you might have some comments soon, I don't know, but can't see anything at the minute, or can I? Oh, comments are there, that's lovely. Let's just see. So I've just trimmed those away. You see, that looks nice and neat. And then I'm going to do exactly the same along the other long edge. So needle down, and just making sure as it goes in at the left, it's not going over my stitching, but at the right, it's going into thin air, if you like. So it's encapsulating the whole of that raw edge. And it is a nice, easy way to make it look neat. Oh, so I've got a bit of thread there. What was that? Let's just have a look. Oh, I saw a bit of, perhaps it's a bit of fabric. I saw something come into, oh, perhaps, no. Oh, right, that's my bottom thread. What have we done there? Oh, no, that's all right. Or perhaps it stopped stitching. Yeah, I think the thread, right, let's just take that thread out. It did make a funny noise. I think possibly that's it. Right, let's just do that again. I see a little bit of fluff in there. I hope you're all cleaning your machines out, just to make sure it's working really, really well. So let's just take that behind there. And I am just, oh yeah, decided to do something a little bit funny here. We want it to look nice and neat, don't we? So probably it looks as though perhaps the thread broke. So I'll leave the stitching that is already there, because again, that also adds to how robust it is. So I'm just going to start from where it started to do a little bit funny and carry on stitching. So we've got a double layer of overlocking, overcasting just at that end. But no problem with that. It's just giving it extra strength. So again, I do like to pull at the edges to pull any fraying away from the edge, just to trim away. And then just along this bit here, oh, very little fraying at all. And that means if there's very little fraying, it means that it's all been encapsulated by the zigzag stitch. So let's just trim those little bits of thread there, and the other side, and flip that away. So we've got our zip already half open, so let's just push that back a little bit more. So we'll push it the whole way. And I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring that up because I can see comments. Evening. So this is what we had under the machine. Okay. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put my hand in, and we're not going to trim those corners off because we want them to act as a little bit of strength there. So, oh, let's just get my hand in here. Oh, I've got a thread there as well. Let's take that off. So if you put your finger into that corner and just tuck it over and then bring it through, so that you're using that corner to poke into that corner, and you get quite a nice corner, a nice angled corner. So again, tuck that little bit over. I've tucked that over, and then pull it through to the right side, and and pull it through to the right side, and what you're doing is tucking it into the corner. I haven't poked those out properly, but they look quite good already. And then the same here with the other side. So I'm putting my finger and thumb, turn that over, and just pop it through where the zip hole is. And the same with this other corner here. We will we'll get rid of that bit of thread first of all. Okay, like so. And we just tuck that over, push it through into that corner, and turn it. So there we have our pouch. And I'm just going to I just want to poke them out just that little bit more. So I've got the old knitting needle there. Just poke into that corner. That's a nice one, isn't it? I must say this fusible fleece is just the right thickness for this project, because it's given it plenty of body, but it's not too thick, and it's working really well. So now we can zip that up. Okay, we have nice neat sides of our zip, and that side as well. Take that bit of thread out the way, and then we're just going to fold that over, and what you'll see is that the Velcro sits together, and there we have a few more threads there. No, that's it. And there we have our little pouch. There we have. So it is it's one of those, I know a lot of you think that. You see something, think, I need to make it, I need to make it. And really you do. It is just so easy. Just got bits of thread hanging out the sides there. But there is one and there is two. Just look a little bit different because it's so neat. I know. So, you know what the basic technique of it is. It is, let's open this one up so you can see inside as well. So open the zip, and there again, you've got your two pockets. One side and the other side. You'll make that tomorrow, Mary. Yeah, I wonder who's going to make it tonight, actually. Oh, it's lovely. Jill likes it too. So, with the technique, it is one zip and one strip of lining fabric and outer fabric and wadding. So, for the swap, please do it this size so that everybody gets exactly the same size. So, as I said, this was 6.5 inches across to start with, and then it was half of a width of fabric, which is about 21 inches. Might be 20, but 21, 20, might even be 22, depending on your fabric. But work with that particular size. However, well, if you've got no Velcro, what you could put here, instead of Velcro, you could put a little popper. You can't wait to make it. Can't tonight. Headache. Oh, dear Jane. Is that fat quarter length? Yes, it is. Yeah. So you could do it from a fat quarter, the longest side of a fat quarter. Mind you, fat quarters these days are usually about 21 by 20. So even with, in my early days, a fat quarter was 21 inches by 18 because it was a quarter of a yard. So nowadays, because it's a metre, you get about 20 inches. So it doesn't matter which way whether you use it one way or across, either will be fine, because what you're working with is not actually measurements. You're working with finding the centre, half of it. And that's what I was going to say. If you want to have a play with doing one for yourself, try something a bit wider. Try perhaps it not the 20 inches, perhaps do it 16 inches. So you'll get a shallower pouch, double pouch, but wider. Have a look to see what you can do. I would love to see some of the things that you come up with. But, oh, Chris will be making it tomorrow. And Carol, another lovely mate to add to your list. Yes. and likes it too. And as I say, it was easy, wasn't it? It really was. And I'm sorry, Mary, for making it sound difficult, saying double pocket. But this way, it is just one pocket when it's flat. So it can lay on your table, and you just tuck your things in there. It might be you're out at a workshop and you've got your card or your money. You can just tuck it in there and it's hidden out of the way. And then, if you want to use it, you can close it up. But if you want to use it standing up, like I had there, and just pop your ruler or your pen. Where did I put my ruler? My ruler's there. Okay, so that could sit in there. You could even pop your scissors in there as well. So they will, as long as it's a little bit evenly balanced, that will sit on your table as well. And it's ready to just pick out zips to your nemesis. But you could give it a go, Glynis, because I think your zips will come out perfectly. Let's see. And as I say, it is a nice, neat end there as well, because it's all entrapped in the seams when you do them. And with the zips, because I said if you will measure your phone, yeah, you have your phone in. I bet I've got my phone here, haven't I? Let's have a look. Oh no, that's got the whole thing on there. Little bit wider for your phone. Let me just have a look. If I take it out of the case, that's better. Oh, not quite. Not quite. So, it won't go in widthways. It will tuck in like that. Or, you know, you could actually lift that up like that. So it sits in like that. But you need to make it a little bit wider. You can't post a photo. It involved a zip. I can't post a photo of my latest make. It involved a zip. You'll be fine, Barbara. There we are. Okay. So, I don't know what you mean, really. So, no, I'm sorry, the phone won't fit in here. But for yourself, perhaps make it 8 inches wide, and that will go in beautifully. It really would. And actually, if you wanted it to only be the depth of your phone, don't do 20 or 21 inches in length. Probably do 16. I think that would do, because that would take 4 inches because of the folding in there. Oh no, of course, I see what you mean. No, you can't post them because it's for the swap. It is, that's right. Right, yes, of course. Duh, it's been a long day. Yeah, for yourself, yeah. So, yes, indeed. No, we'll have to keep this a secret. But, you know, do your own thing for yourself. And, you know, one day there may be proper and full instructions for this on TV or wherever, but not at the moment, because it is just for the swap group. Oh, dear, dear. I don't know. I feel lost when Lindsay's not here. But she's not far. She's having a little break. And it's silly to feel that. So never mind. Look, Super, you need to watch again tomorrow. Oh, Elaine, I know. I know the feeling. But that is as hard as it gets. So I hope you will enjoy your make. I'm loving making these. Mine are ready to go. What I will say, can you please put a large letter stamp on these, because there is no way that that is going to get through as a standard. As I would also say, if you want to save a little bit of money, because early April, price of postage is going up. So, I mean, even if you bought some in advance at the lower price, second class large letter, and also I would squash it down. That will easily be in a large letter. If you used thicker wadding, it could be, yes. Oh, jolly good, Jill. Yeah, you will need to squash it down, so perhaps put it in a cello bag, or if you pop tissue paper around it, sort of squash it nice and flat. just so that it does get into. That should easily go into a large letter, but not a standard stamp. Most definitely not. Okay, because it's far too thick. You could, if you can vacuum pack them. Yes, I can't do that. Can you remind us the position when doing a zip? I move my needle right to the left, so it says 0.0. Ah, and Jane bought large letter stamps last month. Well done, Jane. I should have thought that too. I'll probably get a few in advance. Yes. Yes, Sheena. What a lovely half square triangle delight quilt you made as well. Beautiful. Ah, so Mary's got a stack of second class large and now there's no price on them. You can keep them longer. Yes, absolutely. So if you get it with second class or first class large, but as long as it's got that barcoding, because otherwise, Jill bought hers on Monday, jolly good. Otherwise, you have to fill out a form and get them exchanged through the post office. But yeah, and also last month's, so the very first swaps, and bought 2 lots of stamps to keep you going. Lovely. Jolly good, Judith, thank you. So yes, the swaps that have been coming through to you, mine has arrived. I hope mine that I've sent has arrived with somebody as well. The 25th. So today is the 22nd. Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday the 23rd, Friday the 24th. So the early hours of Saturday morning, if you want to post your makes in this group, so not until after midnight on Friday. We'll see who's first. It won't be me because I won't be up at midnight, but I know a lot of you ladies sew into the early hours, which is amazing. Oh, right. And Sheena, oh, you're having so much fun. I'm glad you are. It really makes my heart sing when I see you delighted with what you've made. You know, just thinking that I've put that to you and you've given it a go and you love it and it is fantastic. So you post the pouch you made. Absolutely, Caroline. Yep. So, yep. I will put a PDF in the group. It'll probably be tomorrow morning now, if not tonight, but I've given you all the measurements and you've got the video to watch, so it shouldn't be too difficult. But yes, so you make one of these after the 25th, I don't know, at some point in the month or very soon after that, Lindsay will send you a name and address and you will post your make to the name that Lindsay's given you. Somebody else, Lindsay will have given your name to, your name and address, so whatever they make, they will post to you. I can't think how many. Oh, that's right, and don't forget to take a photo, just in case the pouch gets lost in the post. We don't like to be negative, which reminds me, international posting is back on, so it's not a problem. So Patricia in particular, and I think is Gidget, I think as well. International postage, absolutely fine. So no problem there. That was what I was hoping was going to happen, because when we first started it, there were issues, weren't there? And there was no international post. Now it's fine, so we can get them posted. And as I say, the photo is just in case one gets lost, so you've got a record of what your make was like. And nobody will lose out and not have one. Yeah, do you know what, Jane? I forgot as well, so hey-ho. It won't get lost. I wouldn't fret about it. But I think Jill's had one get lost, so yes. You post the one you received in the mail. You post the one you received in the mail. No, Gidget, you will receive one from somebody. And when you say post, yeah, you post a picture of the one you've received in the group. That's right. So whoever gets this won't know it's from me. I'll probably make another one so you don't know which it is. And on the 25th, so this one will be the 25th of April that you can post this type, this double pocket. And so you take a picture of it when you receive it and you put it in the group so that everybody can see. And once all of the swaps have been received, what Lindsay does, rather than having a load of threads, loads of posts on the timeline, Lindsay puts them into an album. And so you can still look at them, and to give you inspiration for the future. You post the photo of what you received, yeah, not what you made, exactly. But I think people can take one of what they made themselves, just in case it gets lost. I think that's what Lindsay's asked before. But the picture that you post on Facebook in the group is the one that you've received, because you won't know who it's from, and that's when somebody says, I made that one for you, and so you know who your swap buddy is. So, you know, okay, so that's lovely. So we've done really well tonight. I just wish the comments would start coming in a little bit sooner than, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes into the session. But never mind, we won't moan about that. So, it's Wednesday, tomorrow's Thursday. I will be with you tomorrow evening at 6:30. Don't know what I'm doing yet. I've had so many things I've had to do which are not involving what I wanted to do. Yes, it's a lovely thing to be part of. It is indeed, Chris. So, yes, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for joining me tonight. And for those that will be watching it on Rewind, because I'm sure there's more people than actually it says are watching there. So, yes, take care of yourselves. Have a lovely evening, lovely day tomorrow. And I'll see you tomorrow evening. Bye for now.